What's going on, my friend? So we have this loop that we created. And then I've loaded up the reference track above here because this is going to act as our arrangement blueprint. So we can just copy where each section begins, starts, ends, continues, all the transitional stuff, the break and automation ideas are all within this little waveform here, which we'll be using as our guideline when arranging this loop. So this is the Sultan and Shepherd track. I think, well, first of all, this video is going to be a lot less structured than the first one. That's just the nature of arranging. It's kind of nuanced. So let's start off by marking each section with Ableton's locators. So I have this button here, keybound. So when you press it on my keyboard, I can put a locator or remove it. So you can right click, edit key map. Mine's set to D. And then also I have my reference track key map to 1, so I can bounce back and forth. Cool. All right. Just some helpful tips that might help you when you're using your own reference tracks and setting locators. Okay, so let's map it out. We got the intro here. And then when it comes to arranging, think about the arrangement in 8-bar increments. That's kind of like the general rule of thumb. Every 8 bars, something is usually going to change or evolve in some way. So I'm going to map out every 8 bars first. So looking at the numbers up here, boom, 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 and then we'll label them accordingly. So 8 bar here, 8 bar here, 8 bar there, 8 bar there. And then looking at this, based on the waveform, it looks like the second drop kind of happens here. So what we can do is right click, just for my own, I'm a visual kind of guy when it comes to arranging, so, and I like to have big sections on like a whole number, or like just a number that's visible when you zoom out. And right now I can't see that number, so we can right click, insert time signature change, and then that's going to reset the 8-bar increment kind of idea that we're talking about. And then we'll put a marker there. Now we can see the 8 bars nice and easy again. Boom. Cool. So now let's label these little moments here. So this will be the extended intro. And then now let's listen to what's happening and then just label it. So pretty similar. So I'm just gonna put 8 bar, 8 there. What's gonna happen here? Okay, so we got some drum development there. Some faster, energetic hats. So let's just put hats. Bring them in. Okay, again, pretty similar. So 8. And then this will probably be the drop. So let's hear it. Yes. Drop 1. Another thing to think about when arranging, especially with like extended mixes, 32 bars is a pretty standard duration for extended mixes. So we're at 9 to 41, that's 32. So, you know, try to think about that. If you're making an extended mix, a nice long 32 bar intro can be nice for mixing if you're gonna DJ or play out your songs. Okay, so here we go, drop 1. So for 32 more bars, it kind of just evolves. Like the main idea remains the same. Cool. So let's just mark 8, 16, and then another 8. Then this will be the break. Okay, so 32 bars of this moment, and then obviously it's going to evolve with automation and energy going forward into a break section. Ooh. Little sub drop impact there. So we'll probably have to add some more. Just hearing this, there's like a piano now playing that main melodic motif. So I think we'll probably eventually add stuff. So that'll be fun. Okay, so still a bit of a break moment here. Just trying to think about where the build is. This kind of, I guess this 8-bar section will be the break, and then it just builds up for 8, 16, 24, 32. So we gotta, no, what is that? 24. 24 build up. 8, well, let's mark it. So break build, 8, 16, and then like a little, what's this, like a little drop off? Like the pre-drop. Okay, we can call it like a pre-drop. And this one is drop 2. And then we go for 8, 16, and then based on the waveform, it looks like it might tail off here. So this could be like the outro. We'll see. Yep. Eight, extend it out. 8, 16. Great. So it's all mapped out for us, ready to move our little colorful blocks around. That'll be fun. So it's all mapped out. I'm going to save it. And then how about we do one element at a time? So we'll start with the kick, nice and easy. So just listening. Yep, we got it there. We could even just, almost by the waveform, you know it's going to go all the way over here. And then right there. And then see these little slits? These usually mean they take the kick out. So we can copy that. Or at least they took the sub out of the kick. You can, still a little bit of a click there. Let's just copy that. And later on we can mess with keeping the click of the kick for those moments. Right there. And then when you're like, you know, doing this on your own, don't feel the need to copy things exactly. Sometimes you'll try to copy it and it won't maybe fit the way that you've built out your track. So, you know, these are great guidelines, but they're not like rules, you know, they're just good to give you ideas and inspiration. Ooh. Yeah, I love the how simple and effective taking the kick out is between phrases. Just resets the palette a bit. Noise. Okay, kick is arranged more or less. How's the bass looking? Oh yeah, and also I think I mentioned it in the first video, I wasn't planning on I didn't want to copy the eighth note pattern or the bass pattern. Here I was like more of a chuggy. We're going with more sustain, nice and a bit more simpler to control. So this bass stays on the root note or the C sharp. That's a effective way to start a track, is delay the progression, keep a tension and suspension by holding a note. And then there's also a drone, which we might have to add. Even this percussive element, we don't really have something that sounds like this, but I added something else in the drum section we'll get to in a sec. But first, let's continue with the bass. And also, since drop one is here, I'm gonna press Alt, left click on this, and it's gonna close all the layers. My cat's meowing. What does she want? And then let's just drag this over to the first drop here. So I'm gonna highlight. Oh, we got the kick there already. So I'm just gonna highlight this big block of 24, 8, 16, 24. Hold control, left click, drag it, and then now we got our whole drop section over here. And I want to delete everything here just to keep things a bit more tidy. Okay, so we got a drop here. Excellent. So the bass is going to be sustained. How long is it sustained on the? All the way through. And then the progression begins there. Okay. So let's do that. Let's put the C sharp and let it run. Cool. And also, I think it came out right there. The bass came out. Cool, cool, cool. What else? I think it just continues. The progression stays the same, right? Okay, so we'll just drag this over here. And in the break, a little break from the bass. And then we're getting that bass progression with that other element. So we'll keep the bass out here, bring it back there. Oh yeah, so then back to the sustain C sharp. And then it fades out. Because usually when you're doing an extended mix, thinking about the DJ and they're mixing into another track, it's a good idea to keep the arrangement pretty stationary, pretty tension forward. Less and also less bass, because you don't want conflicting bass going on when you're trying to mix a track. So that's what's going on here. Textbook, Sultan and Shepherd. Slowly taking the bass away, allowing room for the next track's bass to come in. That helps with contrast. When if you're gonna transition from a bass, if you're trying to transition to a moment with heavy, nice bass, the moment before that should probably have less bass. So that's the idea behind this idea here. Same with the intro too. Pardon me. Okay, so we'll bring this here. What do you want, Goose? Trying to help out the boys with arranging the track here. You still have like an hour till lunch, so I feed my cat at 12, and she just got some new food, And whenever she gets a new bag of food, she goes crazy for it. She gets extra needy. Okay, so I think the bass is good there. Mid bass, we'll deal with that later. We're just structuring our existing elements first, and then we'll work on, like, you know, the sound design and mixing and stuff, automation. So what else is going on in the intro here? Well, first of all, they had that little vocal thing that we have. This person. So I'm just going to drag it there, like so. So I find it easier to, when I'm dragging things that are like maybe aren't exactly on the grid, like starting on the 1, for example, you can drag it holding left click and like hope you line it up properly, but sometimes it's like difficult. Like, see it there, how it didn't drag how I wanted it to, or didn't go in the exact same part. What I like to do is highlight around it in like an even number, so it was 8 bars here plus 4, and then you can, looking at this highlighted area, you can drag it over. Boom. Just a little arrangement, moving of objects thing that I like to do. Okay, so we got this. We won't use that, or that. Maybe this. Kind of. But also, yeah, here there's, in this next 8 bar, something, there's like that little sound at the end there. So maybe we can add that here instead. I actually like it here, so we'll do that. Okay, so let's figure out every spot where this vocal is happening. I think it's pretty much every 8 bars. Let's find out. Oh, they literally do it every 8 until here. Cool. That'll be nice and easy. So again, with this, we could just, let's highlight this 8 bar section. So we have the beginning over here and the end right here. And then if we press Control J, we can consolidate this into its own full clip, and then we loop it. So Shift Tab to open up, double click to open up, Shift Tab, and make sure it's looped. And now we can just drag this all the way across, and then we're gonna make sure that we start it again on this drop here, like so, and then the outro, it does not happen. So to clip or to cut a clip, Control E on the keyboard. Cool. Nice. Okay, so that vocal little sample is figured out. What else we got going on here? Okay, so there's a drone. We don't have a drone really, and we don't have that that drum part, so we'll get to those after. Let's just work with what we got right now. How about the clap? Let's figure out when the clap comes in. Or I guess they're using a snare, I think, a pretty bright snare. Not there. There's the snare. Cool. So clap, snare, drag it there. Out during the break. Doesn't come back at all until drop 2, holding control, dragging. And then it continues out during the extended outro. How about the hat? It's kind of a hat going on there, but I think we have this tambourine which will act as that moment. Okay, bring this here. The hat doesn't come back in the beginning of the drop here. There. Cool. So that can be an effective way to keep the track interesting, is dropping to like a minimalist drum and then building the drums out going forward. That's a nice way to carry the track forward. Hat loop, bring it with it. Cool. Shaker. I don't really think they have a strong shaker presence, if any at all, but we do, so let's just decide what we want to do with it. Muting it. So it gives it a bit of energy. How about we just bring it out for now? We can think about maybe having it coming halfway through this drop, if we feel like we're lacking some sort of like energetic flow. But we'll bring it here, obviously, during then, and then probably take it away during. We might keep it. It keeps keeps energy kind of going in this tambourine section. So we'll want to bring this here, I think. Yeah, similar groove. Do you want the hat though? That's the question. Maybe. We'll decide when we get to the fine-tuning of things. Okay, drag this out. A little laggy when I drag these. What's going on? What's going on there, computer? What are you doing? She's old, my friend. She's an old PC. I think I've had this thing for like... Oh, I have a 10... What's my graphics card? Do I have a 1060? So... And I bought that like a year or two after it was already out, so... I don't know, 2016, 2018. It's the longest I've had a computer without upgrading it. Alright, that's what happens when you don't game as much as you used to. Or at least you don't game new generation games where they require a lot of graphics, heavy graphics. Cool, alright. Yeah, Rocket League doesn't require much. Here we go. Bringing this back here. And then full throttle. 8 bars into it. Cool. So there's our drums laid out. Mid bass, we'll bring this going forward. So just click, shift, a left click. So left click, shift, left click to highlight this little 8 bar section. Control D, doop, doop. And then let's do left click, shift, left click, this whole section here. And then drop it there. Sick. Okay. Drums are looking good. We got the low end mapped out. How about our melodic stuff? So we got the pad. It's that. That. Is it happening here? No. So it begins drop 1. Continues there. 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 Okay. And it continues into the break. Keeps going. Yeah, their pad sounds way cooler than ours, and so we can decide if we want to add some more layers to it behind it, because it sounds like some cool texture going on. Like that high sizzle. So yeah, we can layer it or just not worry too much about. Yeah, that's kind of where we're going with this. We're not trying to replicate the track exactly, so we're not going to stress too much, but yeah, we might add some more texture. Just thinking ahead. Okay, so then that fizzles out. When... And then not there, but are we back yet? It's coming in. Very faint. Now we're getting more bright. Cool. And then out. Nice reverb tail, beautiful. Sounds cool. Okay, and then this will keep rocking. This is just like this pad layer. Okay, when does the lead occur? There, muffled, filter down. And then it's also not progressing. It's just doing the doo-doo-doo-doo. Just that. For the whole intro there. So kind of going back to what we were talking about, keeping the progression minimal and less movement in the intro here with the bass, and then we kind of emulate that with the lead. You don't want to give away the goods right away. Unless you do. That's also a thing you can do. Alright, so we'll snip this little part off, this little 2-bar loop part. So Control E, and then Shift or Control drag it over. And I'm just gonna, instead of just duplicating like this, I'm gonna do Control J to consolidate into a smaller MIDI clip. Now it's just this. Now we can loop it. Boom, 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 and drag it out. And does it end? Just continues going through. Boom, boom. And then this will obviously continue to the break. This is the harmony. Do we have the lead harmony? We'll have it playing. We might think about maybe introducing it later on, but for now, keep it as is. And then, is it playing here? So the pattern does happen here, but it's a different instrument, piano. So we could have that piano playing here, and then we could slowly bring in the original right here. So I'll drag that there. Dee, dee. And then it fizzles out. Bit of refresher. And then we need the lead to come back there. Oop. And where is it playing here? So, progression. Maximum filter open. Ooh, nice sizzle on that synth. Ooh. And then no longer happens in the outro. Cool. Boop boop. Okay, and then for these effects, so this sound was replicating. You hear that that sound? You get the idea. That's what that was replicating. So let's hear for this sound. Let's listen. Okay, so it happens here and here and here and here and not there. It's like a bell. Bang. Alright, so we'll copy that over. We can do the same thing we did with this vocal. We can highlight the 8 bars, Control J. Give it a loop-de-poo. Up until the break. So now for this sound, this was kind of like a not what I heard in the actual track. So we have free reign on this guy. We'll just throw it during the drop sections. Oh, let's continue this guy actually over here. So where is it playing? Oh, kind of coming in there. Okay. Not there. And not there, so just there. That noise, like this, it's like a squeaky bed when you're, yeah. We'll have to create that. It sounds like this is coming from this sound. Or that sound that we're working on right now. Just sounds like a delay tail, kind of. So maybe we can do that when we get to it. Okay, let's put it there. Put it there, pal. Bird laser on the 8 there. Cool. There it comes back. And then doesn't return. Okay. Let's do this during the drop. And then the spacious thing. So in their track, they have the wah 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 wah. We don't have something like that, but this kind of acts as that. So how about we throw on the old 8-bar consolidation again, and then loop it, and then boom boom. But also we have this random cool sound, which we can be friends. Let's create a different loop. So we have two options. And I'm just going to color it differently. So right click, let's do like a different shade, just so we can differentiate when we're zoomed out. Okay, then we'll drag this out, loop it. That's a cool color. I like this. I like this reddish, pinkish color. Looks nice with the white font on it. Great, saving. And then let's add this here. There. Not there. Then we'll bring this back for the drop. Now hearing this with minimal stuff going on, it kind of sounds... You see this little spike in audio? It's not timed perfectly. So I wonder if we can... Let's see. Snippet. Holding shift allows you to warp clips. So holding shift, dragging. And hold alt to get even finer movements. And I'm looking at lining these little spikes, which are usually the transients of the rhythm of the sample, and I'm putting them on the grid. So let's hear how that sounds. Yeah, that's less wonky compared to the version prior. So in knowing that, we might need to, let's hear here. Yeah, to me it just sounds a little, the groove sounds a little weird. So we got this one here. Let's now put this guy back. Where is it? It's right under this. And then create our new consolidation. loop it. Okay, and then we'll bring it over here, like so, and then this guy will fix as well. So we can just take that, Control C, Control V. Now we're back on, is this one? Just looking at it now, comparing. Boop, boop. So yeah, okay, that one's correct. And then we'll create this new 8-bar loop again, Control J. But I want to go back to this color, which was not that. Not that. Where is it? Was that pink? Oh, okay. There we go. Loop. Bing, bang, bong. And then loop this here. Cool. Now we got texture. We'll start by bringing the texture throughout the entire track. And then what's this guy? Oh yeah, love it. So is this a loop? Nope, not yet. Control J. Are you hungry? Loop it. And drag it. Boom, boom. Yeah, we'll decide when everything should be coming in and out. But for now, we have arranged our existing elements. Go team, that's incredible. Okay, now we got some stuff to work on. First, I want to get a saving, and then so there's that drone, right? And also that drum. It's almost like a trap hat going on. So I found a drum sample we can use for this moment, which we'll throw on in top loops. Yeah, let's put in the top loop group. Top loop group. Yeah, this is from Splice. I'll either, yeah, I'll add this to the existing download or whatever. You can, I'll make sure you can download it. Okay. So this is the sample. You know, somewhat similar vibe as to, a little bit similar. So we'll drag it here. I think it pretty much plays. Yeah, pretty much like so. Actually, before we get too crazy, I need to, yeah. So this has like a kick, like a little, on every one, it's got like almost like a top kick layer without the sub. But it's not quantized very well. So how about do we quantize it? Yeah, let's just quantize it, make it easy. So right click, Control A, right click in the clip, and then you quantize everything. So now these little kick hits are mostly on the one. but I want to get a little more surgical. Let's get rid of some of that low end. And then also we got this swing here that we haven't put on, so let's try this. Yeah. Add to that groove. Let's hear how it sounds with this top loop. Yeah. So in their track, there's no texture going on, right? There's no real like high-end texture. So for now, let's filter it out. So putting an auto filter on the texture group, and then I'm gonna press A to enable automation, or you can click this button. Boom, boom, boom. And starting with the default low pass, starting at 20 kHz, I'm gonna drop a automation dot node point thing here, because I want to make sure we're not filtering the texture out during the main busy section. But what about we start like this? So you can't hear it. Now you can. So maybe we'll have it like start really quiet, and then holding Alt, left click, and then you can drag this line. So I'm gonna have it, instead of a straight, just a linear line. I think it's oftentimes more effective to have a bit of a curve. So if you ever work like video editing, you have keyframes in there, and you can like smoothen, what's the word? Like ease in, ease out kind of thing. That's what that does. I think it's a bit more cooler, graceful, professional maybe. But also there's times where it's nice to have a straight line. Just showing you some tricks. Okay, so no real texture there. Kind of coming in now. Cool. Now there's a nice like reverb on their little trap hat pattern going on. So maybe we can add that here with, we can try some reverb on this new sample that we have. What do we call this? A little hat loop. Like, what is this? Yeah. Whoa, what did I just do there? G, T, R, F, Y, H, oh, H. Okay. H does that. I don't want that. It's kind of cool though. Alright, so hat, groove, why not? So I want a bit of sizzle, a bit of reverb. So let's play around with it here. So the high cut, I want that. So using the high, or having the high cut on there gets rid of that. I want that. So I want it longer, but I want less sizzle, but I still want the sizzle, so you can diffuse it. Obviously it's not the exact same because the sound is different. Just give it a bit more space. A bit less dry. Yeah. Lots to work on. I'm hearing all the things we need to work on. So like this bass, I don't want this filter to be opening up every 2 bars. But first things first, let's get that drone going. And also let's muffle this lead. So we're in the automation and this frequency automation that we did before. Let's bring it way down. That's kind of cool. That delay is doing work. So this doesn't sound exactly like the reference, but it's cool, so let's run with it. Now we can hear that bass being a little too repetitive with this filter. So how about every, let's see, 4, 8, we can change the rate. So it's right now it's set to 2 bars. It's kind of opening up every 2 bars. Let's extend that. So, you know, going with the tension, the longer you can draw out things, creates more tension, less loopy. So we're going to click on left click the rate, which will allow us to see the automation lane for that. Drop the node there, because that's, we want it every 2 bars during the drop section, but not during this intro. So how long? Thinking about 8 bars maybe? Let's see. Click drag. 8 bars? Let's see. So this will slowly open over the 8 bar duration. But then when it resets, it might sound kind of weird. Let's hear how it happens here. Yeah, because it's like growing in energy, then it resets here. So I don't know if I want that to happen. What if we did faster? That's kind of nice. It has some like bounce to it instead of. Okay. Can we do a bit more movement with it? Like, is there like a jitter? I swear there's probably a morph. Morphs the waveform. I haven't used this new filter that much. That makes it more 3D. Okay, well, we'll leave it as that. Don't want to spend too much time on it. It sounds cool already. Don't need to get too crazy. We're not making a fully polished track in this video. We're just getting the arrangement down, getting some ideas for transitions and energy building and contrast and tension, and yeah. So that's cool. I just want to hear how it translates into the drop, because if we have a fast kind of wah, 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 will it be satisfying to the ear, going from wah, 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 back into the wah, Whoa. So let's just hear that in context. I think that's a big part of arranging too, is just listening to what you've done and then deciding if it works or not. So let's do that. Should be fine. Honestly, this new LFO rate kind of adds more movement, so we might even just go with that. But for now, let's just stay on this intro section. It's hard not to bounce around. I think if I was doing this on my own, I'd be a lot more scatterbrained. But I want to keep things pretty straight. Less ADHD for the purpose of learning. Okay. We want that drone now. We'll create a new MIDI track. Let's throw it on the top here. We'll name it drone. And now it's a C sharp, and we're gonna find just a little instrument. So standard Ableton has analog and drift collision. I don't want to use operator, wavetable, because those are for the suite version of Ableton, and I kind of want to make this accessible to most Ableton users. So analog. So thinking about it's kind of a nice bit of movement in there. So we could try like a string, some sort of string. What's this? This is drift. We can use this. All right. C sharp. Can we move it around? Can we give it some movement? Maybe we'll layer it. I don't know if I like this sound. What's this? Wavetable. Nope. Evangeles. Drift. Okay. Let's just start with this. C sharp. Little note there. Press legato. Now it's fully covering the 8-bar clip. Too buzzy. Theirs is an octave above, or is it both? Yeah, it sounds like it's both. It almost... Cool. So, Control C, Control V. Can't see it. Shift up. There it is. Now we have a note there, a note there. We will add the side chain. So let's copy it from here. Control C, Control V. Don't want too much bounce, so let's increase the threshold or lower it. What is it? If you're, that doesn't matter. And then we got let's see what these macros do. Can they change any cool sounds? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, we'll start fairly low on the low pass filter, and then bring it up. How long is their drone, or what's their drone doing? Let's listen to it. It's kind of quiet there. Okay, so I mean it's weaving in and out. That's nice. It might even be going on during the whole drop section too, but okay. So let's automate this low pass filter. Start it low so we can only hear this octave, and then bring in the higher octave. How bright do we want it? Not that bright, I don't think. Kind of sounds like it's doing this in like really LFO. We'll just automate this for shits and giggles, like that. And then we can just do boop, 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 boop. Just throwing in some randomness is always fun for these little elements that are more in the background. Okay. Shape. Let's do that as well. Make sure we don't lose the sound. Seems we lose it higher up. And then let's duplicate just this little automation stuff. So highlighting this stuff, not up here, we're not grabbing up here, just this kind of automation lane here. Control D. Now we can throw the stuff there. Cool. Theirs sounds wider, so if we want to copy that, we could try chorus on here. Chorus right there. Let's put it before the sidechain. Again, it's nice to have the sidechain last in the chain. And how do we sound? Down a bit. So there's reverb on here already, but I don't know if I like how it sounds. So let's try add another one after the chorus. Sure. Could even just use a preset. How about a reverb preset? Ambience? No. Want something Hall Shine. yeah, let's not get too perfectionist with it. That's good enough. And then going to the next section. Oh, it is a reset because of the note. Oh, it keeps going, but I think so I want these frequencies, but it gets louder than I want it. So that's when it comes down. For me, I like to combat that with just like volume automation. So throw in a utility. Here doesn't matter where I like to put it. I usually have the utility at the very end, even after the sidechain. So utility there, and then looking at, so you can click on whatever automation you want to track. So low pass filter, then plus icon creates a new lane, and then I want to track this gain, and now I can see visually. So right around here, volume's going to increase. So I'm just going to combat that with the gain knob. And then let's trickle this guy down. So it's 494. Now we start losing the volume. Let's go back up. Good enough, good enough. So that's a nice technique to use. I think you could obviously use compression, which could make volume control a bit easier, but for me, I just like using volume automation a lot to compensate for things when they go up and down in volume. You could use EQ too as well if you wanted to like control certain frequencies, but for this, that's good enough. Okay, so we got the drone. Is there a drone here? In the outro, it comes back. Okay. So we can copy this over, and then we've already done automation. So if we want to copy this automation over when we drag this over, make sure this lock is unlocked, because that will allow you to bring over the automation as follows. Boom. We got the animation following us. Otherwise, if you had the lock, it would just copy over what was already there. Little goosker. Okay, so we got the drone figured out. This will probably need to be worked on later, but let's keep things rolling. This intro sounding nice. So we got that drum groove. Yeah, good enough. What's next? The filter's kind of opening up a bit. Do we want that though? Let's see. Just a tiny bit, not too crazy. So we're at 58. Some hats come there. Actually, remember how I said we were gonna add, so that there's like there's still the click of the kick happening when they take away the sub of the kick, right there, bum, bum. And you know, I planned on adding it here, either just by filtering the kick out or adding like another layer and just having just that top kick. But this sample did the job for us. So that's kind of nice. This one, remember, has that. You can hear the click of it. So, wow, amazing. Okay, we got some more movement with the hats coming in. Their filter is opening up more. Ooh, what's that? We don't have that. It's like some sort of clap sound with a reverb, or a reverb and delay. Okay, should we make that? Yeah. Okay. All right, that could be an effects thing. Maybe we'll put that in the effects. So, new. What's going on in this fix? Nothing. Okay. New audio track, Control T, and let's close. Well, where is it? It's happening. I'm just gonna get rid of the automation so I can see the waveform a bit brighter. Right there. So close that, close that, close that, close that. Right here. I'm just gonna put a marker here just to so I can see it when I zoom out. Now that's like a cool sound. What if we just took our existing clap and just, it's more woody, that's more like organic sounding. I don't know if I want that. But maybe we do. Let's try it. Cause what's their, so they have a snare. It's a pretty cool sound. We'll see if this works or not. Okay, I'm gonna resample this clap into this layer. So this audio track that we created earlier, click on resample, lean, and then arm it. Now make sure that we're where the clap is happening, and let's press record. Just make sure you solo the clap. Cool, so now we have a little clap sample here. And then I'm gonna throw it here where they have theirs. Bang. But we're not done yet. We need to throw in some delay and reverb. Maybe even turn it up too, it's pretty quiet. Well, we'll see. So let's throw on, well, actually, we could layer it too. So if we're gonna layer it, I'm gonna add one more audio track, Control T. And I'm gonna group these tracks, Control G. So click, Control left click, Control G, creates the group. And we'll just do like clap one shot group. Clap one shot, Control A, Control C, tab, Control V, and then two. One shot two, one shot two. And then we're gonna layer it, I think, just thinking ahead. And then we'll have the reverb and delay on this group instead of individually, just so it captures both of the samples in one go. That'd be nice. So let's find a reverb. And, well, what kind of reverb do we want? I think we should find another preset. Sounds very spacious. So we could try something like that. Long ambience. Outer space. Ooh. Okay, we'll try that. And then with the delay, maybe a little too metallic-y. Let's figure out first what delay they're using. Is it a dotted eighth? I think so. Yeah, dotted eighth. That's the default delay setting. I'm gonna delay it just like by like 1%. That makes it a bit wider. You can hear, listen. Oops. So without that, the delay is more down the center. Adding the little percentage difference, it offsets the left and right so they're not perfectly in sync, which gives it that width. You could use ping pong, but I don't want it to go left and right. I want both of them to be kind of going at the same time, but more spread. So that's a nice little trick you can use. Offset either one of these a little bit. Okay, that's good enough for now. I don't like this delay or this reverb, so let's try a different one. Audio effects. Oh, something long tail. Yeah, that'll do. So let's layer it with just a random something else. So theirs is pretty bright, like this is not. So we can try to find a sample. Again, I think I'll just put this, whatever sound I pull from here, I'll make sure you can grab it. Or you can just find your own sound. I'm sure you have a bunch of cool samples you can grab. That's kind of interesting. Maybe a little too dank. Turn it down. Interesting. You know what? Just to save time, let's run with that. I'm cool with that. So let's get rid of this marker, and I'm gonna consolidate these boys just so it's easier to keep track of the clips when you're zoomed out, like so. And then let's figure out when that happens. So it looks like it's going in between 8 bars. So another thing to think about. So they have the vocal every 8 bars, more or less, and then every 4 bars. Well, maybe not every 4 bars, but you can also think about, you know, adding fills and other effects within that 8 bar phrase. So the 4 bar section is also a hot commodity for ear interest, ear candy, fills, stuff like that. So let's see where Sultan have added the 4 bar. Oh, right there. Not there. Not there. So right here. Where else? Not there. There. So it looks like they're skipping. So every second pass of that moment, they're throwing it on there. Yep. Cool. There. There. And then they repeat it. Cool. Loop. Keeps going, keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. All right, great. How does it sound? How does ours sound? Kind of cool. All right, that was good. We added some new stuff there. I don't remember what we were doing before that. Oh, we were seeing how the progression was. The drone. Cool. Oh yes, and the filter opening up. So we have our filter. Okay, so let's go back to the automation and figure out how we're going to progress this filter automation. Why don't we just get rid of that and see what it sounds like? I almost want to automate the decay, maybe the length of the notes. Shoot. We'll either do it MIDI or with the like that. So thinking about contrast, going from like, this is like a strong technique, especially with like a melodic house lead vibe like this, with like a repeating sound like this. Think about automating the decay or the length of the note, either progressively. So into the drop, we're going to progressively increase the decay, and then fall back, and then during the drop it'll fall back down to more shorter. So that's a pretty effective technique to use. You'll see what I mean here. Back down to the shorter. So yeah, lots of automation can be done just to keep the movement of the sound going. That's kind of what you're keeping an eye out when you're going left to right, thinking about the movement of each element, and you know, are you going to build contrast, are you building tension? And the way to do that is with ADSR, frequency, stuff like that, repetitiveness. one thing I like doing, I don't think they really do it with their track, but so speaking of contrast, dropping into the bass, it'd be nice to maybe have a bit more break from the bass. So right here it cuts out, but I almost want to slowly filter out the sub of the bass leading into the drop, which will make the drop a bit more impactful. So thinking about, do we want let's throw it on the low end group so we can capture the kick and the bass all at once. So grab an auto filter, put it on the low end group, and change it to high pass. And also being mindful, so see how it says 20 hertz, I think, or I know, because you can hear it. If you have this enabled all the time in your low end, you're actually cutting some frequencies out, which may or may not be desirable. So be mindful of, I like to automate this on and off, only for specific moments when I want to start cutting out the frequencies. So for example, 2 bars before, how about we do it 4 bars? So clicking this to show me the automation lane, and I want this on only here. So then, going forward, the auto filter is off during these big bass moments where you don't want to affect the bass, at least with the auto filter. So we got that on, let's put that there, and then let's filter it out. Starting at 20, the lowest it can go. Drop another node there, and maybe so remember we're cutting out here, so before it cuts out, maybe we'll have it 120. Let's hear how that sounds. Bit of curve. See how it creates a bit more tension? You can slowly hear the bass kind of fizzling out compared to it just gives your ears a bit of oh, something's about to happen. So just that little thing can really make a difference. So we'll do that for there. And then let's see here. So again, I'm not trying to perfect everything. I just want to get things going left, right as quickly as possible, just to show you some techniques and stuff. So let's just give this intro a playthrough, see where we're at right now. Okay, I mean, that's good enough. I think we can start thinking about this section. I'm gonna feed my cat and take a quick break, but we'll come back to the next section. Okay, so let's listen to how Sultan and Shepard kind of progress their drop with energy increasing, the automation. Let's listen to what's going on. I'm thinking maybe we do one element at a time. It's we'll listen to how the drums progress if they do individually, and then we'll work on that. We'll listen to how the pad and the lead progress, So let's just start with the lead and hear how, you know, the filter opens up and, you know, what kind of movement happens. Then try to emulate that more or less. So here we go. Soloing the track. So here it doesn't really do too much opening, but you can hear it opening up quite a bit more here. And theirs is definitely, I guess we're not going to copy it exactly, but they have a bit more. Actually, I guess it would help to, the volume's not the same, but anyways. Just thinking about how theirs sounds a bit more muffled than ours. That's pretty close. Anyways, so we got the frequency. Let's put a node there, or let's drop down the automation lane and think about, so we don't want that open right there for sure, but maybe near the end. So why don't we copy this, throw it down over there, and get rid of this, just a bit more. So yeah, like maybe it can gradually increase just a bit. Slowly maybe getting a bit brighter. So how about we just copy that idea. So duplicate this, Control D, and now, so 705 it opens up. Maybe we do like 757. So this goes up to 1.9, 757. And then this can go up to like 8. But instead of dipping down, maybe it continues going forward. So I like the idea of it kind of increasing, then kind of resetting a bit. But maybe it doesn't reset to the very beginning. So 519, how about a 5? How about a 560? Then 560, we'll do 600. Yep. Good enough. So again, like we're not gonna get crazy intricate, crazy fine tuning with this. So we'll move on to, let's do the pad, because the pad's kind of doing some stuff that I want to listen for. So we're listening to this sound. So let's listen to how Sultan and Shepard do it. Okay, so for this first pass, they only have the first and third notes kind of weaving in, so we can copy that. Just get rid of that note. Let's even cut out this sample. You notice the energy drop when that goes away, so either we decide to keep it or just don't even start with it. How about that? Let's try that. to build towards the energy rather than starting with too much energy. I'm hearing like two notes happen here. Ba, and then eh, or maybe it's an octave up. Oh. But it doesn't happen here. Okay, so you can hear it kind of gets more sizzly, the pad, letting those higher frequencies come through. So why don't we just copy that? Not exactly, just to copy, or yeah, just copy it, and then yeah, we'll move on. So we can try this low pass filter and just automate it so certain moments are more sizzly. I noticed like that's sizzly, but these second ones, like the 1, 3, are more, seems to be more automated in the higher frequencies. So let's try that. So we can automate this other macro here to add a bit more interest to the sound. So let's do that. Throw this down there. Maybe later on, so we'll keep it chill for the first 16 bars. Alright, so when you start automating things, you're going to notice, you know, volume, or just volume things getting out of whack. So we have to kind of do what we did over here with the drone. Adjust the gain as it goes. So why don't we just do that quickly? Throw on the utility. And let's listen to it. So I want that to come in quieter. That one gets pretty crazy. So when this oscillator waves gets to like a certain threshold, it gets pretty crazy. So you bring it in for this last part. And how about this? So if you hold F, you can notice that there's this little square you can click and drag. Also, you can also hover over it, and sometimes it just shows up automatically. But when you have automation enabled, sometimes it kind of gets in the way. So F, and let's just click and drag this to so that the audio will fade in into the 16 bar kind of midway point of this drop. Maybe we can have this come in a bit louder. Progressively. Alrighty. So we figured out the kick already, the bass pretty much stays the same. We could think about like increasing the filter, opening it, I should say. Progressively get a bit more energy through there. Let's decide what the max we want at the end here. I think that's a bit too much. Kind of just did a little curve here, have it slowly ramp up at the end there. So 146 to 179, just a little bit. I think that helps. We could even do this in the intro too, I think, just even more subtle. How about, so 179, what if we grew to, so 179 to like 156, just a little bit more energy. Probably doesn't matter, but it can be cool. Okay. Drums. Are they doing stuff? Yeah, pretty much the same. Okay. Vocal, we got all this stuff figured out. Neato bandito. So beyond this automation stuff, I'm not sure if they're doing it, but I want to show you an idea you can take with you to increase energy of a progressively increase the energy of a loop of a section. So let's go to the return channel. Get rid of this delay for now. Let's throw on like a big juicy reverb on there. Maybe we can find a cool preset. Long tail, large chamber, something like big. Space. What's that? Spacious. Let's try space. 3 seconds, probably have to increase that. But basically what we're gonna do, so make sure the dry wet's 100% on the return channel. And we're gonna send our low end to this return channel as it goes forward, like so. So start at 0, and progressively there's gonna be more reverb swell kind of atmosphere being built towards the break. Let's just hear how it sounds. It might work. What does Venus Bright? There's no harm in putting multiple reverbs on something. Yeah, I want that sizzle, the high end frequencies. You can hear that like high kind of creeping in. Let's hear it. Beauty. So that's a really nice way to build a bit of tension with your melodic elements. You could even put on your drums even. Like, what's that going to sound like? That could be cool. And we can drop it down to the build there. Nice. Okay. Let us work on this break section. So this I would consider, you know, good enough for now. We gotta figure out what's gonna happen with this piano, right? Okay, well their pad progression is different than ours. Let's stop this from happening. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, I think we should just do a bunch of layering of these existing notes, get the piano going, automation building, the reverb swelling, then the pluck of the lead slowly coming in, building, reverb. Okay. So yeah, I don't want to get too obsessed with getting the notes. I think the point is made there. Okay. So let's figure out. Also, maybe we'll keep this here. I kind of like the. Got some good atmosphere in there. So if we want to get the piano going, let's create a new MIDI track. Control-Shift-T, and let's take this MIDI here. Control drag down. Ableton has some decent pianos if you put some reverb on it. E piano. We just try a basic grand piano, which is what? Whoa. Hopefully you can use this on standard. Put it up an octave. So if you press Control A, Shift up arrow key, let's throw a bunch of reverb on it. Audio effects. Large hall. Maybe we'll work on the attack, have it less plucky. Let's try this same delay that we have on the lead. So copy, paste. Let's put it before the reverb. some weird sound there. Some like feedback thing. Also, there's like, we're just gonna pile a bunch of layers on what I'm hearing. We'll make this quick. So I don't think I did the MIDI exactly how they built it out, but I hear the kind of chords, the low piano notes. Bum, bum, bum. So let us do that with a new layer here. I'm gonna grab the bass MIDI, throw it onto this new MIDI track. But it's happening twice. So Control A, and then if you do transform, chop it into like that, 2 parts. So now bum 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 bum, and it sounds like piano going on. So why don't we just find another sound? That's the fun part about, one of my favorite parts of producing is having the MIDI already, figured out, and then just throwing on different sounds and layering things. I just enjoy that so much. So let's find another cool sound. Whirly soft piano. Crazy. What's it like an octave up? Let's throw some reverberation on it. This lead needs to start less open filter, so let's drag this one over here and then make sure that we have a note there. Start out more muffled. Same with this, very soft. It's a little wood thing. So that pad gets pretty bright. We could just copy, let's copy this automation we did here. Control C, put it right here. Control V. And maybe that will work. Piano sounds kind of lame, but I might want to reduce the reverb on this. Okay. So we'll bring this reverb down on this pad sample. So it can slowly trickle down and then build back up. 87%. Let's do right there. So it's fading down. Then we have the piano come in, reminding you of the lead melody. This sound is just not it. Could try a different piano sound. Something, or it doesn't have to be a piano either. It can just be like a random sound. So we might be able to try that. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. Let's see what a random preset will sound like. Let's get some of that low end in there. Less sustain though. I don't like it dragging on too long. I want the reverb to more. Yeah, see how it tails off? Could even do it sooner. Maybe a bit longer. Sorry, going back and forth here. So this sounds pretty trash, so could try something else. Cooler, but this is an operator preset or operator thingamajiggy, and that's only available to Suite users, so yeah, we won't use this one. Sounds sick though. Let's just find like a random noise. Noise still happening with noise disabled. Okay, let's automate this to not be as loud off the hop here. Ought to put a utility there. Let's bring it down. Do we like this sound? Not the best. Okay, something else. Better. Let's throw this delay on here. Delay before the reverb. So this becomes a bit more sustain, get you getting going. Keep the filter open in the pad here. Crazy bark crunch sound. Maybe we have this buzziness pretty like right here. Delete this stuff. Oops. Clicking. Yeah, once it reaches like a certain threshold, it kind of pops off. Like 48 or so. When we start it. Okay, let's listen to this texture here. We should filter it out. So where is it? Get filtered a bit. Have it slowly come up towards the pre-drop and then cut out. Back in. Maybe a bit quieter for this first 8 bars. And then maximum. Yes. All right. Let's listen to just what we got so far. Copy these notes over. I didn't like this a little too, not yet. Bring up this piano bass. Okay. This doesn't sound that good in context with the... I want to try EQing the highs on it. Yeah. Could be louder too. So let's throw a utility. Just for this section, we'll boost it up the volume. In general, I think maybe once we finish, we'll do like one quick sweep and then do a bunch of volume adjustments. And then, yeah, once that's done, throw on a quick little master, and then we'll have a finished track. So let's actually, this reminds me, in this track there's like a bell and like a bass sub kind of pitch down kind of effect. Boo, and then a bang, boo, and a bang. So we can add that, you know, a simple sub sample, sub drop, what do they call it? Sub. Ooh. So it's F in scale, in the scale here. Do F sharp. So we do F sharp, bring it back. So that sample's an F. We can bring it down to an E or D sharp. I kind of like the D sharp sounding. So down two. Yeah. Okay, sub drop, boom. Easy. And then there's like a bell. So again, sample, or I know Omnisphere, or not Omnisphere, well Omnisphere too, but I know Ableton has some good bells natively. Control F, bell, instruments, basic bells. Wavetable, nope. Basic FM. Operator, nope. What's the note? F or C sharp. It's you know what? Save time. We're not going for perfection. Bam. That's cool. Can you layer it with another octave below? Get rid of some of that high. Yeah, that works. Kind of sounds like there's still a there's like a sidechain pump going on in the reference here. Still that pump. Okay, so two things we're gonna do. I want to show you how to get a sidechain pump without having the kick present, and then let's get this sound going. This sound. Squeaky. Squeaky cheese. Okay, so to get a little ghost sidechain going, we can duplicate our kick, and now this top layer is still connected to our sidechain, so we want to be mindful of that. So kick, if we name this SC for sidechain, and then make sure, so now it's SC. So this is going to be our sidechain layer, but we want to mute it. And I'm going to color it just to be aware of it. No, let's go black. And then, so keep this kick. This is our actual sound source, but this is the sidechain source. So we can now drag the MIDI here, and then it's muted. And now everything that has sidechain enabled to it is still going to pump. So here, see how the sidechain's still going, even though our kick's not present. So that's cool. And then a way to even control the how much sidechain or how little, you can change the volume of the sidechain layer to increase more pump or less. Like this. Or none. So we can automate the pump. How long is it going? Kind of still sounds like it's still going on there. So how about we let it break here and then bring it in slowly towards the build, and it can maybe increase gradually. So let's try that. Too much. Pumping. Maybe we'll bring it further. Still pumping there, and then down to 0, and back to where we were. Okay. So there's a little side chain there, and then that sound, we're gonna get it from this guy? No, this one. No, this one. So this will be our little squeaker sound that happens. That one. And to do that, let's create a new layer. What does this sound like without? So let's resample that like this. Maybe we throw on some pretty intense feedback. Let's get rid of this, just so it rings out longer. So we're at 60 here. Just keep an eye on what it's at so we don't mess up the existing value. How about this and just record it? Actually, I want to take the side chain off. No, we'll keep it on. Well, I already stopped it, so here we go. Do it again. We'll control the mix like this. 2 bars in, it's gonna go fully wet. And then we'll automate the feedback ourselves. Actually, we should have started quite high. There's the infinity. Maybe we'll get to a point and then, yeah, hit the freeze button. There you go, now we're thinking. Okay. So now we have a strong, steady dotted 8th note pattern. And then we can easily just control the volume and whatnot. So we'll do it for, so that's 16 bars, we'll do it one more 8 and then a 4. Two more bars. Boom. Okay, cool. Go back to 60. Delete this. Fade it in. We probably won't need this. Oh yeah, going that crazy. Here we go. Sidechain on there. Let's work on the volume a bit. Great. Cool, man. So this break and build section is not perfect, but you get the idea, right? Now, this drop 2, it's pretty much done for us because we're going to open up the filter a bit more on the lead, but that's going to be pretty much the meat and potatoes of the second section here. Yeah, nice and squeaky, growly. Even more here. Open it, open it. Sweet, and then this can open up some more. I wasn't hearing it in this later section. There it is. I think I'm hearing like a higher octave in the reference. It's either harmonizing or it's a higher octave, but like, what if we, is that gonna work? Let's try it. Control A, Control C, Control V, Shift up. No, we're not gonna fart around too much with that. So this pad, how's their pad looking? Very bright and angelic. So let's copy some of that automation. How about from this build section? So it's 16 bars of that. Let's grab 16 bars here. How about this one? The pad's somewhat tame here. And then builds up. Cool. Drop 2, pretty much rockin'. Let's get this bass going back. So what happened here? Did I go too long here? Yes. Drag that there. You be gone. 24 bar second drop. This filter is too open. Let's copy the original here. Have it a bit more open. And actually for this, maybe for the second drop, we can bring back this LFO to 4. To 4, or what was it? Quarter note. Okay. Bring, bring, bong. Even here would be cool, so. And then. Yeah. It was too high though. Too high, bring it down. 140. And it slowly goes out. So here we'll want to cut the bass out as we progress that way. So enabling it on the extent, when do they start cutting the bass? So let's start it here. Auto filter on there, and then frequency, start slowly tucking that sub away. something like that. Drone's doing its thing. And how do they transition? Yeah, we don't want this to cut off so fast, so the automation can stay constant. Cool. We can even do that thing again with this spacious reverb. We'll throw it on here, going up. So it's at -7 there. How about we try that again? -7. And then slowly fizzle out like that. And then we can throw, because this is going to be this is adding a lot of space. Usually when you have returns, you want to be mindful of throwing maybe a sidechain on there. So let's grab this sidechain, throw it there, and let's hear how it sounds. Just a bit of pump. Awesome. I think this can come up in volume just in general. So we put it at 7 during there. What if we just try that? Good. Cool. Texture still on. Bring it down. Very cool. Let's get rid of this little tail at the end here. So it just fades out smoother. Yep. Cool, man, cool. So we're gonna listen to this through. Obviously it's not perfect, but you get the idea, I hope. And then do some quick volume adjustments, maybe a little bit of smoothing with transitions. But then, yeah, we'll throw in a master, and then we'll call it a finished track. harmony. Nice. Just wanted to add the side chain while this kick was out because the bass kind of pumped up a bit. You can hear it. Kind of gets louder, which, I mean, doesn't, it's kind of cool, but I wanted it more consistent. It's like that. Yeah. So that's a good, very good first kind of starting point. Obviously, I'm not going to do it on the video, but once you get to this point, it kind of just comes down to just playing through it and then listening for certain things that kind of poke out, like, oh, I didn't like that, or this could be somewhat different. So that's kind of the final polish you do once you're nearing completion, listening to it and then making adjustments. And then eventually you get to a point where the song is A to Z nice. There's like no moments where it comes out like, where it comes out at you like, oh, I could change that or do that differently. Like, for example, I think like all these kind of one shots are pretty kind of dry. they could be mixed better, maybe with a bit more reverb or something. They're kind of like a little tonally maybe a little awkward, but yeah, that's what I would probably work on next. I even had the idea of maybe adding a universal reverb to kind of glue it all together, but you know, maybe you can try that for yourself. Just do a return channel and then mix in all these elements with just like maybe like a room reverb or a hall reverb or something like that. But yeah, that's going to be this track. Let us do a quick master. So we can loop like a busy section, maybe like one of the loudest sections. So this section. And let's do a bit of mastering. So, you know, there's a billion, cajillion ways you can go about mastering. Let's do a couple things. I guess the main idea is if you're trying to achieve loudness, you want to get it as loud as you can without maybe sacrificing too much quality, too much of the transients. Again, depends on your taste. So let's start with like a general, just a basic EQ to shape a bit of the sound. For me, when I'm making music, I tend to neglect this area, maybe even a bit of the highs. Just that little boost, you can kind of tell it gives you a bit more clarity. You hear that? So that's nice. Another thing you can try is putting a bit of saturation on the master. So I think saturation on the master is kind of like putting salt in your food. Just kind of glues it all, kind of, you know, the salt in food kind of blends all the colors and blends all the tastes together. So I think saturation can kind of achieve that. It's nice putting a saturation on the entire mix to blend all the frequencies together. So, you know, you could throw on the analog, but there's this plugin called Oxford Inflator. You may have heard of it. It's pretty good, pretty popular. This soft sign option is kind of similar to what that can achieve. So let's try this out. A lot louder. So let's bring down the drive. A little bit. Already pretty good difference there. And then we could also try, you know, maybe a bit of glue compression. So you can try compressing it a bit. I think usually I like to have a slower attack for master compression and a quick release too, so it's not just clamping down on it too much. So we can bring down the threshold to that's cool. And then we can make it up with some gain, makeup gain. You find this helps the groove? Like, listen to before and after. I find like the kick is really nice and groovy with this compressor. That's good. I think that glued the bottom end a bit nicer, so that's a nice thing to consider when mastering. So we can, you know, the sky's the limit, but let's keep it simple. So we got EQ, saturator, little compression. We can think about clipping it. So Glue Compressor has a clipping option, which you can enable, which we can do. But let's use the limiter as a clipper. So soft clip here. And also this Glue Compressor also has like oversampling if you want to enable the high quality mode. So let's do that. Boop. Which, I mean, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, but it can help reduce certain artifacts apparently. So sometimes that can be nice to consider. Now let's clip it. So to me, that's a bit too much. I feel like the transients are getting a little too smushed, too soft. So let's dial it back just a bit. I'm gonna put the ceiling to 0, maybe even 0.01, 0.3. No. Let's do 0. Okay, so we got one limiter doing a bit of clipping. See, this is kind of showing you. And then we can do another limiter to do like a final volume push to see how much we can push it. So how about we maximize it? I think this is a new option in the Ableton limiter. But basically, so you enable maximizer and then you drag this down and it's gonna give you a bit more volume. So let's try it out. So that's too crazy for me. So yeah, it just comes down to how loud you want it, how much you want to preserve the transients. So like, look at this. So without, okay, let's group this master chain, Control G, and then enable or disabling it. So let's look at our peaks right here. There's our volume. Also, I just want to see if it's louder over here. No. I think we forgot to bring this over, didn't we? Okay. Silly me. Okay, so looking at this master volume. So, you know, it's peaking around -1. And then, you know, technically you have 1 dB of headroom, is that how it works? But then you add all this stuff to gain 1 dB, but it's going to be a massive volume, perceived volume difference. So, you know, so what's our loudness? What's our little frequency looking like? So we got Span. This is a great plugin. It's free, and if you pay for, or it's free, and then every once in a while it'll mute your sound in like demo mode. So if you pay for it, it won't do that. So what's our spectrum look like? Looks pretty balanced. I find in this genre, this low end usually peaks around the -30, and then the higher stuff maybe around -36, higher, lower, depending. Why don't we throw this on the reference, turn it to max volume, copy this over here, and then to make sure that we're not affecting, did I do that already? To make sure we're not affecting, or the reference isn't going through the main, because we don't want to have our mastering effects on the reference track. So make sure it's set to external ouch, and that'll play just not going through there. So theirs is on the right, ours is on the left. So going to A-B it now. Theirs sounds a bit brighter, so we could try you know, shaping it with our EQ or getting into the mix with the low end, because the low end's kind of maybe a little muddy. Try a little dip. We can check the loudness. So many plugins can show you. There's a, I think this one's free. Yeah, it says right there, free. So checking the loudness. Saying we can pump it a bit. We could probably bring it up a bit, even more. What about the sound trigger? Too much. And then what's our reference looking like? I think it's a bit louder, just based on how it sounds already. Ours on the left, theirs on the right. Cool. Not too shabby for some stock plugins. Okay, that's going to be our wrap on our little experience together. That was fun. Hopefully it was beneficial for you. If you want to pick up anything from my website, link below. There's like a couple courses there, some samples, presets, all that jazz. And yeah, we'll see you around, dude.